LeBron James just created the NBA's ultimate super team nightmare. Charles Barkley says Philly is stacked like never before. But can this unstoppable force survive ego battles, chemistry issues, and a brutal championship war?
LeBron James, if he were to win a championship in Philly, it would be his fourth different team he's won a title with. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to have their opinions about that. What would Charles Barkley's opinion be that he's gone to yet another team, a different team, a fourth team to win the championship? What would your thoughts be about that?
Well, I think, number one, it would be incredible. But the number one knock on LeBron for older guys like myself has always been, yo, man, you always stacking your team. He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly. So that, to me, I'm going to still have the same criticism I've always had. He's always stacked his team.
LeBron has chosen the 76ers, in case you haven't heard. I believe that there are two reasons why he chose the 76ers, although this is obviously very fresh and there'll be more information will come out. But as he said in his comments that he made on social media after it was announced, he has chosen the number one thing is winning a championship immediately, which is not unheard of or shocking, but it wasn't 100% clear whether winning a championship this upcoming season was priority one. It was chasing happiness. And we didn't know. Did happiness mean or his family was comfortable? In fact, he openly said in his comments that family wasn't a priority here. So once he said, now that we know what he was thinking, and he said that winning a championship immediately this year was his priority, I think that put Golden State and Miami off the list, because I don't think either of those teams could win a championship immediately with him joining. Maybe you disagree?
And I think if you look at their roster, this is if you had this roster after your fantasy basketball draft, you'd feel great. Like, wow, this is a ton of talent. These are a bunch of guys who've put up big numbers. I'm fascinated and curious by exactly how this all fits on the floor. You've got a lot of guys who have the right to feel like they should be the number one option. There's going to have to, be some sacrifice. There's going to have to be kind of a figuring out of how all that talent meshes together. Now, it doesn't have to be figured like what this team looks like in terms of playing style and chemistry and all that. When the season starts in October versus what it looks like when the playoffs roll around could be two drastically different things. So I'm going to be very careful of knee-jerking about any potential early season bumps in the road. But I do think stylistically, Nick Nurse for his birthday has a very unique challenge gifted to him.
I go back to, feels like it was years ago, but it was only a month ago when Brian said, go do something to these teams. When we were talking about LeBron, he says, go make a move. Go do something, right? If you want him, go do something. And this was before Philadelphia made the trade for Jalen Brown. And I just look at that trade, basically putting them in, putting him then now in the conversation, put him in the conversation with LeBron. Like the Jalen Brown trade doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, let's face it, they're not probably in this mix of, a mix of teams here and everything like that. And when, and let's be honest, I didn't think he was going to Philadelphia. I thought he was going to Miami. I really did. And then you kind of look at it big picture and everything. You kind of understand why.
That's loaded. Again, I think it's going to take some time for all the fit stuff to be figured out, but that is, correct me if you guys feel like I'm wrong, the most athletic backcourt in the NBA.
Well, and then let's talk about their backups. So their backups would be Dean Wade, who can play 3, 4, or 5. That's a versatile player. Mm-hmm. Anthony Simons,
a bucket getter off the bench,
who they signed, who will be a shooter. Adem Bona, who was a quality backup big, right?
He's a play hard guy, that's for sure. Athletic guy who plays hard.
And then they have Justin Edwards and Dominic Barlow as backup forwards, edge rotation players. It's a pretty
and the rookie that they drafted.
Yeah, he was good in summer. LeBaron Final.
LeBron and
he's a guard. He's a guard. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good 10-man team.
Well, and again, I think it's the most athletic backcourt, and I think it's maybe the most athletic forward tandem, even though LeBron's turning 42 this year. But tell me a more athletic forward tandem than Jalen Brown and LeBron James.
Well, and again, Dean Wade was starting in the playoffs for the team that went to the conference finals last year. I'm not saying that he was driving force, but that's a decent big man rotation. Even if you're down Embiid for half the season, their big man rotation is substantial.
LeBron James just changed the entire NBA championship race. Because if this move becomes reality, we are not talking about a normal free agency decision. We are talking about LeBron James chasing history. A championship in Philadelphia would give LeBron titles with 4 different franchises, something nobody in NBA history has ever accomplished. Miami, Cleveland, Los Angeles, and now potentially Philadelphia. But while some fans would call it greatness, others would call it the same thing they have criticized for years: another super team. Charles Barkley believes that criticism will never disappear. According to Barkley, LeBron has always had a history of building championship-level teams around himself. He did it with the Miami Heat. He created another powerhouse in Cleveland. He brought a championship to Los Angeles. And now, Philadelphia has become the latest destination. Love him or hate him, one thing is undeniable. Love him or hate him, one thing is undeniable. Whenever LeBron James changes teams, the entire NBA landscape shakes. And this time, the earthquake could be bigger than ever. But the biggest question is not why LeBron chose Philadelphia. The real question is why the 76ers suddenly became the perfect championship destination. For weeks, the NBA world debated where LeBron would land. Miami seemed like the emotional favorite. Golden State had championship experience. Oklahoma City had young talent and future potential. But Philadelphia offered something different: immediate championship power. After LeBron's comments, one thing became clear. The priority was winning another title as quickly as possible. Not comfort. Not retirement planning. Not a farewell tour. Winning. And Philadelphia gave him the strongest opportunity. Because this roster was not built around potential. It was built around proven players. A lineup full of stars who have already shown they can perform under pressure. But this is where the story becomes complicated. Because talent alone does not win championships. Chemistry does. Sacrifice does. Trust does. And Philadelphia now faces the biggest challenge every super team must overcome: the fear of disappointment after all the hype. Can multiple stars share the same spotlight? Because having superstar names is exciting. But making those superstars sacrifice may decide whether this team becomes legendary or collapses. The biggest danger in Philadelphia is not a lack of talent. It is having too much of it. Because this roster contains players who have spent their careers being the main option. LeBron James, Jalen Brown, other elite offensive weapons. Every one of them has been trusted with the ball. Every one of them believes they can take over games. But championship basketball requires something different. It requires players to accept smaller roles for a bigger goal. That is the challenge. Because history has shown us that super teams can either become unstoppable or destroy themselves from the inside. The first month of the season may not tell the full story. Championship teams often need time. Roles change. Players adjust. Chemistry develops. The team we see in October could look completely different by playoff time. And that is why Nick Nurse faces one of the biggest coaching challenges of his career. Managing a normal roster is difficult. Managing a roster full of superstar personalities? That is a completely different battle. But Philadelphia did not become this dangerous overnight. One major move completely changed their future. Before the major roster changes, Philadelphia was not considered the favored destination for LeBron James. But everything changed after the organization made a statement move. The addition of Jalen Brown pushed the 76ers into a completely different category. Suddenly, they were not just another playoff team. They became a championship threat. And when you look at the roster construction, the biggest word that stands out is depth. This is not just a starting five. This is a potential 10-man rotation. The backcourt brings explosive athleticism. The wings provide size and versatility. The forwards combine power and experience. And the bench gives them something every contender needs: security. Because the playoffs are not about surviving one game. They are about surviving 2 months of pressure. Injuries, fatigue, defensive adjustments. Philadelphia appears built to handle all of it. And when you look deeper into this roster, the athletic ability becomes even more frightening. The scary part about Philadelphia is that the power does not stop with the stars. The second unit gives them another level. Versatile defenders, athletic forwards, scoring options, physical big men, players who can change the energy of a game without needing 20 shots. That is what makes this team different. They are not relying on one player to save them every night. They have multiple weapons. And then there is the biggest question, and that: can any team match the athletic combination of LeBron James and Jalen Brown? Even at nearly 42 years old, LeBron remains one of the most physically dominant players in basketball. Combine that with Brown's speed, strength, and explosiveness, and Philadelphia suddenly has one of the most intimidating forward combinations in the NBA. But the final answer will not come from paper. It will come from pressure. Because the greatest super teams are not remembered because of how talented they looked. They are remembered because they survived the expectations. Philadelphia has built a team designed for one thing: Super Bowl. Winning immediately. But now comes the ultimate test. Can LeBron James create another championship masterpiece? Or will the pressure, egos, and expectations become too heavy? Because when LeBron enters the championship race, the entire NBA starts watching.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.